everyone, welcome to my Authors Chat of the Week. And as I let this platform kind of notify everybody that I'm out and about and keep an eye out for my co-host for the evening, we'll be talking about things like books, writing, publishing, and everything in between, as always. And if you have any questions for us, feel free to ask them at any point. I just got back from working a convention all weekend, so I haven't even set up my books behind me all the way, so we're gonna just go with the flow tonight, as always. But let me see if I can find... Yay! Let's see if he sees the invite, and then we'll get things rocking and rolling. Hello!
Howdy, hey! Let me get the video on. There we go.
Hi, how are you?
Howdy.
I can see you. That's fantastic. Well, I don't know if you've listened to any of my kind of authors chats before, but it's pretty conversational, low key. If anybody in the comments pops in a bookish related question or comment, I usually try to answer any of those, especially since if this platform's nice, usually it is, sometimes it's weird, but I'll try to repurpose our chat on my YouTube channel at a later date. Awesome. And put all your contact information down below. Sweet. But beyond that, I'm going to let you just kick things off and introduce yourself since you're my co-host tonight, and we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm J. Michael Knight. I'm a dentist by day and an author any other time that I can fit in being an author. I've written, I know you've written, I was kind of looking at your books now. You've got way more out since the 2 years that we did it before, but I just released my 12th book, and yeah. I got 4 dogs. I'm married.
I was going to say that I was curious to know what you have released since the last time we chatted, because it has been a little while.
Couple years, yeah. I mean, when you told me, oh, it was 2 years, I was like, geesh, it's been, and I just got a Facebook notification of a memory of my wife and I at our old job 7 years ago. So I sent it to her. I was like, it's been 7 years. So time is flying.
It really does, and there is something to it. The older you get, the faster time seems to. I know time's relative, I get that, but it really does feel like it's speeding up.
Mm-hmm. I think I only had 3 books out maybe when we did it last time, so yeah.
See, I feel like you are a rapid releaser then, because I release multiple works a year, but some of them have been part of my novella series, so they're not even full-length books. Yeah. So that makes it feel like I've written, more per se than I actually have. But yeah, let me know what you have been up to in the past couple years, actually.
So I mean, at least you are smart and you're sticking to the same stuff and you're consistently putting out kind of in the same genre. I've been having genre commitment issues, so I've released a hodgepodge of random different books. The series I'm working on right now is called Greymark, and it's a dark kind of assassin fantasy. I like to joke that it's as if you watch anime at all? It's okay if you don't have to. Okay, so there's an anime called My Hero Academia, and yes. In that, people are born with a power, and it's called a quirk. And so I kind of took that and then imagined what it would be like in an Assassin's Creed sort of world and story with some Game of Thrones stuff. What would it be like if people really randomly just got powers, and some of them were just crazy powerful, and kind of what that would do to society. So that kind of got me started on this series, and I've been super into it. So I've at least been able to stick to this story. Now I'm on book 3, and I'm 3/4 of the way done with it. I also wrote a children's illustrated Christmas book.
I missed that one. How I missed that one
I had somebody reached out to me and was doing a military charity thing, and they were having audiobook narrators come and read short Christmas stories. So I wrote one, and then while we were doing the read, people were like, I really like this story. I think it should be a children's illustrated book. And I said, okay. And so I turned it into one.
That's cool. I was going to say, that must be a totally different beast to market, because I've talked to a few people who do children's lit and middle grade, and the marketing for those books are very different because you're marketing for parents and grandparents versus the people who are going to be your true consumers of the book.
I've done almost no marketing for it because it's been so, I mean, it's mostly been friends and family who are who have kids and, you know, they have a Christmas book. I need to do more marketing for it, especially like this next upcoming Christmas, but it kind of just popped out of nowhere for me. But I really like the story, so I might do more kids books. Like I said, it's really nice to have everything in one genre like you've done now that I have like a contemporary romance, a YA fantasy, a dark fantasy, a kids book, a like cozy romance. It's been really hard to market.
For me, I feel like it's already hard enough and I stay within the realm of that second world fantasy, but I do branch between young adult, new adult, and adult side of things. I'm listing more and more to the adult side because I can get darker, and that's just my jam right now.
It's fun, right? Yeah, that's what I started doing with Gray Market. People were like, yours are like more upbeat and kind of happy. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how I am as a person. And somebody at I think it was at Sin4, one of those book things was like, you should write they wanted dark romance. And I'm like, I don't know if I could do dark romance, but I could do a dark fantasy with romance themes in it. So yeah, that's what this story is. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Well, no, I mean, that's the thing is especially indie authors, we can chase our passions and sometimes that works for us. Sometimes there's some backfiring. Again, the marketing of trying to branch into especially totally different genres just adds layers to the complexity of it, but that doesn't mean you can't be successful at being a multi-genre author. It's just you're taking on that much more.
I'm still trying to figure out how to market them all. Like I said, I was looking at your website earlier, and I love the way you kind of have everything arranged, and it's, you know, this is the YA, you know, this is the more adult dark. So I'm trying to start kind of dividing things up and learning how to promote each one kind of individually.
Now, did you choose to do different pen names, or did you do what I did and just slap your name on?
I'm just going to slap it. This is, I have an idea that I kind of want to write a book for everybody that, you know, if you like, though I don't think I could do like a murder mystery, like that's not really in me, but I do have a horror story that I want to write. And I kind of just want to have like a book that anybody who reads could kind of pick it up and like it, one of them somewhere.
I like that. And I think it's kind of fun to be able to have stories that speak to a variety of readers because I've been enjoying doing a lot of live events and selling at like conventions and other kind of literary based, you know, festivals and things like that. And if someone's like, oh, that, you know, the dark fantasy is not for me, I prefer, you know, something that's a little lighter, or, you know, vice versa. It's nice to be able to be like,
here you go.
Like, yeah, exactly. It's like, but wait, there's more. I have. You're your own walking bookstore.
It's fun.
So, with your darker your current series and the darker one, its name was what again?
Gray Mark.
Greymark. I was going to say Grimmark, and I was like, no, I'm thinking Grimdark.
It's close.
Greymark, not Grimdark. Okay. You said you're 3/4 of the way through the third book in the series. Is it going to be a trilogy, or are you planning a longer series at this point?
So right now because I have so many other projects, I have a problem because while I'm writing, if I get stuck even for a second, I'll just start thinking of other stories, and then I want to go focus on that while I'm stuck. Yeah. So yeah, I pretty much just want to stick to this one. I have 3 books out. I want it to be a phase 1 and I think a phase 2 trilogy. So it'll be kind of two trilogies that all go together. Yeah.
Yeah, the book I'm currently writing is a progression style dark fantasy, Witcher meets D&D kind of thing. But cool. What I want to do is a little bit like Legends of Drizzt, which also kind of released like little trilogies. And so that's kind of going forward at what I want to do for that series. But also like you, I can never just stick with and focus in on just one storyline. So I'm always having all these different kinds. Here's a cozy fantasy. Here's this comical one. Here's another dark fantasy. Here's this and that. And it is hard because you're trying to like so hard finish what
I have
you're
to stick with it because I know if I don't, yeah.
Do right by your fans and your readers. On the other hand, you have all these kind of fun things, and especially if something sparks at a time where the popularity of that subgenre, that trope, whatever it is on the rise. I don't know. I was thinking about it, and I realized the book I'm writing right now, I came up with the idea back in 2020, and I was like, that's been 6 years. And I'm like, man, I have storylines that if I had released them a little earlier, I probably would have caught the buzz better because it was meshing with what was
I'm terrible at catching the buzz. I'm terrible at catching the buzz too.
It's hard. It's like you have to like dedicate and write and focus and then promote. But on the other hand, if you have other series that are halfway written or other stories, it's a juggle.
Yeah.
it's tough.
Been there.
So with your current series, who are your main characters? Tell me a little bit about them because they're new.
So this one was originally supposed to be kind of just, the main character. His name is Ison, and he comes from and like in this world, the powers, the quirks are called answers, and so there's a ceremony called the calling where they reach out to this deity. They don't really know what it is, but they call out, and it's usually when they're in their teenage years, and if they get answered, they get a power. And so it was just supposed to be about Ison, but he comes from a family of super powerful answered people, and for political reasons and reasons that are explained in the book, his mother doesn't like him and wants to get rid of him. And so he does his calling, and he gets a power that seems like he touches somebody and then it puts a gray swirling mark on their skin. And so his mother they were like, well, what does it do? And he's like, I don't know. That's pretty much what it seems like I can do. And there are people that get weak powers. And so all the people who don't get powers, or they get weak powers, or for political reasons, they get thrown into a place called Dead Reach, which is where all of the unpowered, people go. And so he's 14 and he just gets thrown into the slums pretty much to die, essentially. So it was just supposed to be about him. But as the story started developing and more characters started helping Ison, he meets a washer girl who also has a horrible life that's almost as bad. Probably not almost, it's worse than Ison's life. And so I started really liking her character. So I started doing some POV chapters with her. Ison gets with this guy who has ulterior motives, who's in Dead Reach. And he lives because Ison lives because this guy starts training him pretty much to be an assassin. And so there's actually multiple POVs. I think I have like 6 in this book.
Wow.
But it's mostly Ison's.
Wow, I was gonna say.
I said it got more complicated than I originally imagined it. Like I said, it was just supposed to be kind of a dark assassin power fantasy, and it started getting really big with politics and all this stuff as they tend to do.
Yep. I was gonna say there's something to say about books that deal with political intrigue and the magical side of politics and everything. I mean, we're drawn to them for a reason. Love or hate them, there's something about them that does kind of keep our attention, but also makes it that much more complicated to write. I don't know. I feel like
that's the hard part. Yeah, just juggling all the different people, all the different names. I feel like the only time I use like AI now is to save time, to be like, hey, can you tell me the name? Like, here's a chapter. Can you tell me the name? Like, I don't want to read through the 7,000 word chapter. Can you tell me the name of like the side character that I put on here so I don't have to search for it? Because that's another way that I've been able to write faster now, is because I used to have to go, I'm a pantser, so I used to have to go back and read through all of my chapters or word search to try to find the name of somebody. I should definitely take better care and take notes while I'm writing, but I don't.
I was gonna say that is something I'm always trying to get better at, is taking notes during my writing process. So I'll like write a chapter and then I have my style sheet, so the things that I'm tracking, all the characters, all the terminology, place names and everything, quirks and species and monsters.
Smart. That's super smart. I should definitely do it. I just don't, because I feel if I'm writing it and then I have to stop and then go back and then do all of that. It kind of just interrupts me getting into the story and into the flow. I should probably do it after I get done with it, but I don't. I'm just bad.
See, that's what I do is I finish a chapter and then I read through it just to make sure, one, it sounds smooth, but two, that's when I log in all the stuff. So I don't do it while I'm writing the chapter, but as soon as I'm done, before I, put it away, I'm like, okay, if there's any new words, any new characters, let me just make sure I put them in. And I try. And most of the time that works. Every so often I'll miss something and I'm like, wait, this place, this person had a name. What was it? Oh no.
I'm terrible. I need to get better at it. Do you, sounding like it, do you like go edit kind of as you go now? I feel like I didn't do that for the first like 2 books that I wrote. And then now since I've kind of gotten in the groove, I feel like I self-edit as I write now and I can do it pretty quickly. So I feel like I'm not spending a ton of time editing, at least.
Yeah, for me, it's like, again, I write the chapter. Sometimes they're quicker, sometimes it's a slower write. But then I read through and try to catch anything that sounds weird, or if I need to flesh out, that's when I do that right then before I move on to the next chapter. And once I finish the book, I'll do a read through and again, try to do the same thing, making sure the chapters and chapters all flow. I haven't written anything that some kind of plot line or idea that has kind of
which happens. Yeah.
been left hanging.
I do the same.
So I do some of that level of stuff, but then I usually, because I'm always working on multiple works, will put it away for a month or 2 before I come back to it, so I can look at it again a little more with fresh eyes and start doing some more another round of edits and all that kind of stuff. It's always a process, but
I have to do that every time. Like I'll go back to another project. I'm like, I have to reread everything that I wrote to get the flow of everything before I can even start the next chapter.
And then even if the book hasn't been published, if I start working on the sequel, I have to like read it all over again. Just so I'm like, just make sure I don't like
takes so much time. Yeah.
I know. I was like, I know my process is not the most time savvy for people, because there are definitely people who write one book back to back to back, and that probably saves them some of that effort that I go through. But on the other hand, kind of like you, there are sometimes those ideas that you're like, ooh, wait. In the in between, let me jump.
Let's write a couple chapters down. That's what I usually do. I'll write a couple chapters down, and then we'll go back to it.
Yeah. Keep it fresh and everything. I love that. But okay, so you said you have 12 chapters in the chapters.
12
books.
Yeah. I think actually 11. The 12th one I haven't released yet.
Oh.
After I finish this 3rd book, I'm going back to it because it's my first lit RPG. And that's like the most complicated I told you I'm terrible at keeping track of things. So all of the powers and like having all of the notifications and everything being like in the same format. And I had somebody give a review I'm writing it on Royal Road. I've been writing on Royal Road, which is, have you heard of that?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna get into that.
Okay, I won't even say it.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, continue your thought.
And so I forgot where my thought was on there.
You were saying that you were trying to keep stats in the magic system.
Oh yeah, on the magic system. So I had somebody give a review that said that they're like, they really enjoyed the story, but they felt like the characters needed to be fleshed out like a little bit more. And that's why I like Royal Road, because people are brutally honest on there. And so they're like, I really like the story, but I think the characters need to be fleshed out a little bit more. The things happen a little too quickly. And I was looking back and I'm like, you know what, you're right. And so I didn't release it, and I'm going to go back and re-edit it after I finish this book. And I think that'll be my next project. Okay,
so let me ask you, because with my progression fantasy that I'm literally writing right now, one of the things I'm trying to consider is if I should kind of do what I've done with my Patreon a little bit, but because litrpg is very primary on Royal Road and there's a lot of readers and readership there, try to release it early there. But one, I didn't know if that was a good platform to do that with, because I've heard a couple people say they didn't like it, and then but then I've also heard from other people that it's a great place to be if you're doing lit RPG. I know on Progression Fantasy, which is the cousin.
It's similar, and I'm writing Greymark on there, and that's not a lit RPG. It's sort of progression fantasy, like his power keeps evolving. But the people, like I said, the people on there can be very mean and very brutal. So if you don't,
Some people were so mean that one of my author friends was like, I didn't like that experience and I left. And I was just like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I can handle a critical eye, but be nice about it. You don't have to be like
I would say most of them are pretty nice.
That's why I was just like, I don't know.
Most of them.
Because it's going to take some time to set it up, I'm assuming. I haven't dabbled with it yet, but
I have had some days where some people have said stuff, and I've had that where I'm like, I'm just not even going to write here anymore. This is bullshit. I don't even want to write. Like, I'm just taking all my books off of Royal Road, but I like think about it, and I'm like, you know what? It's just one person. And what's really cool on there is there's like editing, like on Microsoft Word, when people, like you send it to an editor and they can make the edits and the cross out lines and everything. People can do that for your stories also. And so it was almost like free editing for me on a couple of my stories. Yeah. And so I was like, oh yeah, thanks. I missed this. Like, okay, let's change that here. Thanks for the suggestion. And you can give people like little coins or little stuff for, them to give them little icons and stuff for their borders, for their screen name and stuff for helping you out. So it's really nice. And seeing like readers, like if I put out a chapter of Greymark within 5 minutes, I've got like 30 people reading it. So that's like great motivation for me to like get a chapter out. So that's why I'm writing faster than I ever have, because I have that motivation of people waiting for my chapters.
Do you try to do a chapter a week or multiple, or I'm super fascinated. Yeah. Sorry, we're going down.
No. I love talking about it. I try to do 3 to 4 a week, at least 1 or 2.
Okay. All right, because that's one thing. Is like I'm thinking of writing the whole book and then figuring out how I want to pace the release of the chapters.
And that's actually great. The fact you have it all out and you don't have like that pressure, because that's something like. My wife would be like, oh, I want to go do something. And I'm like, I have to get a chapter out like this. After I get this chapter out, then we can go for a hike or whatever you want to do. So the fact you have it done, I think that's really great. Because you can, like you said, you can set out, just do a chapter a week. You can even auto time it. And they also have a nice promotion. It's like $50. And it gives you like 250,000 views, like for $50 or something like that. So it's like it's a really good deal.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I will try to make the effort, and hopefully I won't cry.
Yeah. Tell me how it goes. Yeah, I'd love to see. Maybe I'll read you. Tell me, I'll read it on there as you post the chapters.
All right. It will be a little bit of time because
I'll be one of the nice ones.
Thank you. I was gonna say it still's gonna be a few more months because I'm only 19 chapters in, but this is supposed to be like a 54 or 55 chapter book. So it's going to still be a few more months. Towards probably the second half of the summer, I'm thinking maybe I'll set it up and start having chapters go at that point. But that was the game plan. But then I heard the counter thing that they can have some really mean people. I'm like, on the other hand, so can some other platforms. So I guess,
And I've had some also really weird reviews where I'm like, I don't know what you're saying here. Like I've had people send like a whole page review, and some of the stuff that they're saying, like, I don't think they're from like the United States, or they're from like an English speaking stuff. So it's like hard to understand exactly like what it'll be like a 2-star review. And I can't really understand like what they're saying in the review, but overall I've had a really good experience.
Okay. Good to know. That makes me feel a lot better, because that's one of those things that was just like, trying to debate this year, and it was one of my game plans that if I did it, it really should be when I'm kind of prepping this progression fantasy to get on that platform and see how that goes. Also, since you're doing writing a lit RPG, or going to be working on one on the side, one of the other things I've been thinking about attending is that lit RPG con that happens in the summer.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. I haven't bought the ticket yet, but I'm pretty close. I'm almost sold myself on that idea.
Where is it at?
That one I think is in Boulder, Colorado.
Okay, I saw Matt Dinneman and Jeff Hayes like do a video or whatever on TikTok promoting it. So I mean, this book, the Summit Again one that I wrote that on there. That got on the Rising Stars list, which Dungeon Crawler Carl got on the Rising Stars list. So this book that I wrote on here, I had like the most positive, like everybody was like, this is a great book. Like it's fantastic. It's wonderful. And then I started writing the sequel, and the people did not like the direction of the sequel at all. And I started losing followers on the story, and that kind of, I was like, okay, let me just take off what I wrote like on the second book. I'll go read the whole first book and like think of something else. So that's another thing to keep in mind. If you don't have super thick skin, it can sometimes bother you.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and that is the thing. So I think I'll try it.
You
and
should.
Then
You should.
If I start crying behind the scenes, I'll start messaging some of my litrpg author friends and be like,
you can message me. You can say they said these horrible things. I go, I know these are the horrible things they said about me too.
Bullied. Oh man, too funny. But no. Okay, so cool. I have noted that you are on there, so I can remember in the future to be like, okay, maybe you'll be one of my first readers.
I almost did web novel, but you can't use italics on web novel.
Interesting.
And I'm like, all of my readers' thoughts, or my main character's thoughts, I put in italics. So I'm like, and they're like, well, you can use like exclamation points and stuff. And I'm like, nah, we'll do Royal Road. I don't want to not be able to do italics. That's like super basic.
Yeah, and you, again, with the particular genres here, you were trying to write in and ground that kind of feeds that group. So that's cool. Okay, I'm glad I found that out because I literally was having this conversation last week with someone, and I was just like, do I not? I don't know. So
best thing for me, like I said, is the motivation. Like giving the motivation of knowing I have people reading my stories helps me write faster. So I'll take people saying horrible things every once in a while.
Yeah. So what is your I was gonna say writing strategy, but yeah, the whole writing cycle, like how do you usually do that? Like how many rounds of edits before you maybe post it somewhere versus sending it to an editor before you get it ready? Like, do you have a system when you write? Does that make sense?
It's very similar. Yeah, it's very similar to what you said. I'll write the chapter, then I'll reread it and re-go through it to make sure everything makes sense. And if I'm doing it on Royal Road, then I'll just post it. Again, with that, and everybody at least on Royal Road knows you're just writing it right then and there and posting it right then and there. So there could be problems with story consistency and stuff, which has happened lots of times with me for doing it that way. But normally that's what I do. I'll write a chapter, I'll read it through, make sure everything makes sense, and then I'll post it on Royal Road. If I'm releasing the book, like once I get the whole book written, then I'll, like you said, I'll reread the whole thing myself and go through with it. And then if I feel like there's a lot that needs to be done, I'll use one of my editors. If I feel like it's in pretty good shape and people in general have said, I didn't really find a lot of problems, I like the book, then I'll go, okay, and I'll just release it then, and then I can work on my next project.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the thing is, if anybody listens to this and they're just starting their writing journey, editing is going to be the bulk of it. Writing is going to take time. Editing is going to be the bulk.
Writing is the easy part, which I didn't know when I started this journey. I thought writing the book was the hard part.
And then you have to do the marketing,
which is the hardest part, at least for me.
Yes. So actually, let's talk about that. Like, what have you been doing lately that you've either enjoyed or decided that you didn't like when it comes to marketing?
So I've been absolutely horrible at marketing the last 3 or 4 months. I have barely done any TikTok videos. I've been trying to post at least one video a week, but I haven't. I've really just been going to work. My job is an hour and 20 minutes away. So it's like 5 a.m. to 7:30 at night. And then the days I have off, I literally just lay in bed and write as much as I possibly can. So my strategy right now is really to kind of just get the books out that I want to write the books. And then when I feel like, okay, I've written and I'm just done, I'm not in a writing mood, then I'm just going to spend like months and months just trying to promote my books like crazy. I feel like it's been too hard to focus on the writing and then at the same time stress about trying to get people to read the book, to read the books. And the good thing about going back to Royal Road, is that, like I said, at least there I know I have readers. And I'm getting a lot of sales from, like, Greymark right now is my best-selling book by far. I'm selling 40 to 50 of them a month from Royal Road. because you can write like the first book, and then per Amazon rules, you can only have like 10% of the book, I think, like as a preview, something like that. So I'll put the first 3 chapters and then go, hey, if you like this, here's the Amazon link on the Royal Road. And then I'll start writing book 2, like right after that. And then once book 2 is done, put the same link and then keep writing it. And from that, I've been getting, that's been my number one marketing.
Okay, I was also going to ask about that with the Royal Road, was like, how do you try to convert some of those readers or followers there? I don't know what the term is.
And you can put your Patreon on there. You can put your PayPal on there, and people can like put tips and stuff on there. You can link it directly to your Royal Road. So I've just started a Patreon. So I'm trying to get that up and running myself too. So yeah, I think that's kind of the route that I'm going.
Well, you let me know how your Patreon goes, because my thing is, I don't know how to get people onto it. And I have...
If you find out first, you tell me.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because that's what I have a Greek myth duology, and the first one's totally on there. The second one is a little over 3/4 of the way already up on there, but I've been releasing them a chapter a week, but yeah, and trying to promote, but I don't know how to get people on that platform. So for me, it doesn't, now that I've set it up, it doesn't take me that long to upload a couple chapters and set them on like auto post for the month, but with that said, it's like, it's also not a lot of,
yeah, I wish they. I saw that they had like something that said promotions, like a promotions tab, but I got to look at that more. But it didn't look like it was something that would really bring people to your page. So, like I said, I think the Royal Road is my best chance of kind of bringing people to my Patreon there. So yeah, I would try it with your Progression Fantasy.
Okay, I'm a little more excited about that, definitely. And I was going to ask you about something else, but I can't remember because we were talking about, because it went back to Royal Road. It'll either pop back up.
I keep going back to Royal Road. I'm sorry.
It was something I can't remember, but then I got really fascinated about like how you were funneling people to your sales there. Anywho, cool. There are so many ways to be a writer that people don't realize, and utilizing some of these newer platforms like Royal Road, it's still relatively newer compared to some of these more older and traditional ways of publishing and releasing and finding readerships and stuff like that. So it is kind of cool to see who's taking advantage of what and how it's working for them. So that is neat. But yeah, when it comes to, that's what I was going to tell you. There's another author on here, you may or may not know of him, but his pen name is JDL Russell. And what he's done, that it sounded like I had to follow up with him to see how well it's been working over the months that he's been trying this. But I know a number of months ago, what he was going to try was, I think it was, I can't remember if it was a week on and a week off or 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. But like he did a whole week where he just went in his time was writing. And then the next week, all he concentrated was promotion and setting it up for, that 2 week stint. And then he would go back and focus on writing. And so he had the cycle. So he was always moving forward, and, there was always things posting and always marketing happening, even though he may be in the middle of a writing week, and that was his full concentration. I thought that was neat for people who maybe like you that need to just...
That's a good idea. I might have to try that.
Or another. For me, I realized that I write best in the morning, and maybe I can peter it into the early afternoon, but then I get a little like itchy to do something else. So I have to kind of always do a little bit of both in a day, or else I'm just going to not be productive. So I'm not that person that could do that week on, week off, but some people can. So that may be something that you would want to.
Yeah, I'm a hermit. I told my wife, and I've done like tech talks joking about it. If the only reason I leave the house is to get groceries, go to work, or because my wife wants me to go somewhere. Otherwise, I would stay home and I would write.
So actually, let me ask you a couple things about your books. I just popped in my head that these are a little more fun things. I know we were on the serious side of the marketing, but for fun things, of all your book characters, which one would you want to be your next door neighbor? And of all your book characters from all your stories, which one would you not want to be your next door neighbor? And why? I want to know.
I would probably want Arthur from my Other Side series. He's he was a former like hunter in that series. There's people that are like they hunt monsters, And so he was a former hunter. His daughter died. She also became a hunter and died during a hunt. And so he kind of left that life behind and became a mailman. And he's the one who adopted like the main character in the story. And he's just a really nice, wholesome, caring older guy. And so I think he'd be a great neighbor. And, you know, if anything happened, he'd be able to do something about it. And the character I wouldn't want right now is probably Rhyme, who is the main antagonist in Grey Mark. And her power, I don't know if I should say spoilers, but essentially she can possess people and take over them and take their powers. And she's psycho and just unpredictable and crazy. And definitely, like most of my characters, what they do, there's like a purpose and stuff behind it. She's like the Joker. She's crazy. And yeah, I wouldn't want her as the...
Yeah, it'd be like one of those things is, oh, she's around, we just lock the door and...
We'll just go on a killing spree because it's fun and I want to test out the new powers that I got. Like, that's how she is. So, yeah, no.
No, they're definitely, definitely people from books that are just like, I would not want that character to be in my neighborhood. Nope, sorry. And then there are those that are like, I want him to be my best friend.
Arthur would be a good best friend.
So that's fun. That's fun. So
what about you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm all looking.
Tough, yeah.
Oh no, wait. Okay. You threw me for a loop there, which is funny because I should have expected it. But of all the characters, I was just thinking about it. I think... Okay, well, the easy answer of who I want to be in my neighborhood, my alter ego was written in my YA series as the main character. So one, she's the younger version and has a lot of cool magical artifacts and all that kind of stuff, but still kind of an alter ego. So that would be an easy one. But there are definitely some fun characters in my upcoming non-published books that I would love to choose just because they are very entertaining in different ways and would be kind of fun to have in like the local community. But who I would not want in I'm trying to go through, do I want...
There's so many probably. I have a lot that I wouldn't want as my favorite.
Unfortunately, there is that case. Oh wait, actually, I have another one. For a character that I also would think would be fun to be a neighbor. In my Viking series, there is a character, his name is Skeggy, and he's a comedian, but in a good way. He's like loyal, he's a fast friend, he's true to heart. He just comes off with a body sense of, or a crude sense of humor, and but he likes, to drink to have a good time, but he's a sweetheart, inside, and so he would be also a nice neighbor, but... Yeah, but for people who I would not want to be around, there are definitely a number of the antagonist characters, and they're antagonists for a reason that I would kind of avoid at all costs,
Like I said, at least most of mine have, like, you understand, why they're doing what they're doing. So that's why I said Rhyme, because, like I said, there's no rhyme or reason, which is a part of the play on her name to what she does.
That's clever. I like that. That is definitely clever. But yeah, no, God. Still trying. It's gonna bug me now to figure out if I have to pick just one.
sorry to throw a wrench in everything.
I want to be. I'm gonna have to think about that one. It's so funny. I asked the question. I got myself into this.
That's fine. My bad.
How dare you? See, this is why I did not ask the dumb question, which one's your favorite? I was like, I'm going to just word it a little different, like, who would you want in the proximity of your household?
That's even tougher, I think, to say who's my favorite.
That's why I didn't ask that one. I asked it the other day. I thought that was nicer. And then you asked me, and I'm like, wait, that's not nice. Still not nice. So for you, let me ask, is there any event, are you doing any kind of like events, face-to-face things with people? Or are you all predominantly just online at the moment when you're, meeting readers and all that kind of stuff?
I'm all online. I was doing book signings at the Second and Charles bookstore here every once in a while. I might do back on that. The problem is that they do the consignment, so they pay me, the little bit for the book. So, I mean, for me being there, it's really just to get my name out there. I don't make anything like spending the whole day there. So, it's hard to kind of get the motivation to do it when I could stay here and write a chapter. I would like to start doing. I was doing the Sinful Signings. I just haven't been able to make the last one, or maybe the last two, because it was in September, and then they changed it, and then it was in like June, and then now I think it's in like February or something of this year. So they've just been changing it, so I haven't been able to do it. But I would like to do some events.
Sinful Signings, that's one of the ones that travels, right? Or am I flipping it with another one? Because I know there are a couple.
No, it's in Roanoke, Virginia. It's
okay,
pretty
so that's
much
one that
in there.
There's another one, and I'm trying to remember which one that is. Is it Gowns, Crowns? I don't know. There was a couple of those that I hear. I
heard that one too.
This platform, and I couldn't remember which one was which. So I haven't done them clearly. But yeah.
What about you? You said you're doing more signings?
I've been doing a number of the local conventions. Well, I'm outside of Atlanta, so Atlanta does thankfully bring in a number of different cons, especially fandom cons and fantasy and bookish forward events and stuff like that. So I've been doing a number of those each year, and I've had a lot of fun doing that, because not only are you connecting with people who are kind of the similar fandoms that I write in, but also being able to sell my books, sign my books, and participate on panels, which also draws attention to who I am and what I write and kind of things like that. So I just came back from a con on yesterday, Sunday. Oh my goodness. I was like, it feels like it's been a full week, and I was like, oh, because I worked over the weekend, so I have not had a day off, so it has been a full long week. So yes, but they're fun. I do enjoy them, and over time I've realized that the authors that really focus on that as their primary way of reaching readers, because everybody does different things, they all kind of start knowing each other. So going to a couple of them over and over, and I've now developed a group of author friends, and I'm like, oh, if I go to these events, I'm pretty sure I'm going to see at least a few of you there, and so that makes it fun as well. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that's how I felt with Sinful Signings, like Evie Black and a few other authors that are on TikTok. I've met there, and several are actually I found in Virginia. I'm like, oh, I didn't know you guys were like also that's where I am in Virginia. But we're going to be moving to Newport News. And I know I missed it, but there was a big book convention that's there that they have every year in like Williamsburg area. So I'm gonna try to go to that one next year, definitely.
That's cool. I hope you get in, and I wish you best, because just trying things out and seeing if they work. That's kind of part of the fun too. And if you don't like the vibe or decide it's not worth it for you, then don't do it again. But if you find something that works well and you're like, hey, that's that's great too.
And I found, book people and readers are usually the best people. So yeah, it's usually always a good time. Even if I'm a hermit, I still have a good time when I go too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, and as far as writers go, you don't have to do face-to-face things.
No.
Just throwing it out there, Freddie, you don't have to do that. That is an option. I'm an extrovert. I like doing those things. But not everybody is. Most writers that I know.
I feel like that's a plus. Being an extrovert is a plus. So, yeah, I wish I was. I can pretend for a little while, but then, it's like those videos where you see the guy, saying, oh, being an introvert at a party, and then you go in the bathroom, and they're like, oh like, that's me. That's me.
Most writers that I know are kind of like introverted, I should say. So I think, but that also goes to the writing lifestyle is an introverted lifestyle.
Perfect.
And so for me, I'm the opposite. I'm like, this is why I do lives. I need to see people and talk and face to face, because unfortunately my husband, he comes home from a day of work and seeing people and doing sales, and I'm like, talk, because I'm like, you're the first living, breathing thing outside of the dogs I've seen all day.
No, my wife's like that too.
And he's like, whoa, give me 5 minutes. I'm like,
I feel that.
Hold on. Anywho, okay. Since we're hitting that 3/4 mark of the hour, this is when it's going to start picking up. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions that, of course, last time I asked are the ones I try to do every time, including where can people find your books? So, Zon, are you wide? Obviously, do you do direct sales? That kind of thing. Where can people get your books?
So I have a website, jmichaelknight.com. I've got some stuff on there, some book boxes and some merch. I need to update it a little bit with with Graymark. I don't have Graymark on there or Book 2 on there, so I need to update that. And then I'm on Amazon and also on Audible. I have 5 books on Audible and on Royal Road. Nice. And here.
Yay! So let me also reiterate, Audible, so you have audiobooks, assuming ebooks, as we were talking about some, I think we were talking about like Kindle a little bit earlier, paperback. Do you have
paperback, hardcover? Yeah, my romance don't, because they're just too short, I think, it'd be a really weird hardcover. Yeah. But my Other Side series is in hardcover. My Graymark series is going to be in hardcover. Everything is on print. I did have my cover artist give me some Ingram Spark covers because they have like weird formatting for Ingram Spark, and I tried to do it myself and I couldn't. So I'm like, here's $50, you guys do it for me. So I'm going to try to go wide with Graymark as well.
Nice. Yeah, I have not jumped onto the Ingram Spark bandwagon yet. It is on my radar because one of the things that I keep telling myself, hopefully this year I will figure out, is how to take at least paperbacks wide, because I've used Draft to Digital for ebooks and in audio / Spotify for audiobooks. I mean, ebooks, audiobooks, but I haven't done the physical prints yet. And it's just because I really don't want to work with Ingram Spark.
Ingram Spark's super complicated, but I did the Amazon the extended distribution thing where they take even more of a percentage of your print books, and that made absolutely no difference in my sales whatsoever. And then it pretty much makes it so and it says that that'll allow you to be in bookstores and stuff like that. It doesn't, not really. It's very hard. I've contacted bookstores and libraries, and they're like, no, you have to go through Ingram and Spark. Like, we can't really get it through Amazon. It's like super difficult. So go through Ingram Spark, and then we can just order it from there. So, because I kind of want to maybe start doing Barnes and Noble signings and stuff like that, maybe every once in a while.
I think that's the thing. That's my motivation to do print books wide. And I do see Atlas saying that to look into Book Vault for distribution. I haven't looked to see how wide. I know they do print on demand. I don't know about distribution in other stores, so I should probably check into Book Vault's capabilities for that, because I also know Draft to Digital wants to get into that as well for print. So I'm kind of like stalling long enough, so maybe one of these other companies like Book Vault or Draft to Digital can like do something. It doesn't have to be as wide as Ingram, just wide. That's all I want. I want to be able to have things found by as many people as possible and not put all the eggs in one basket.
It's smart.
Yeah, so it is interesting, and yeah, they're saying it's not super wide net, less than Amazon, and overpromised and delivered. So yeah, it's just things to like look into, and every author has to do their due diligence and do your own research. Ask around, do your things, and then at some point you decide if you're going to try something or not. And if it doesn't work out for you, most things you can back out of. Be careful.
I was just going to say, you're going to make mistakes. If you're doing this on your own, you're going to make mistakes. I've made many, many mistakes, and for many, many, many dollars, and it's a learning process. It still is. Oh, yeah. So. Okay.
It is, and especially the indie publishing side of publishing is changing so rapidly. There's so many businesses and companies trying to get into the field and offering new things all the time. Us authors were always like, whoa, where was that? Where did you pop up? Who are you? Like, what are you offering? And so it is kind of interesting. One of the other questions I wanted to make sure to ask as everybody's chatting about distribution of books, which is always a good thing to learn. is what other platforms, if any, are you on outside of Book Talk? I mean, you mentioned you have a website. Do you have a newsletter? Are you on any other socials?
I have a newsletter that you can sign up for on my website. I've got like 600 people in my newsletter. I'm terrible. I've done like one update newsletter ever, and I'm really bad at it, and I need to start doing it. I'm also on Instagram, also on X, also on Facebook, but I'm not really on them. I just, every once in a while, it's really for family. Every once in a while I'll go check, but yeah, I'm also on all of those as J. Michael Knight or author JMN, but I'm mostly on Book Talk.
I was gonna say it's still my favorite place, even though things are changing and things could change in the future. I could change my mind in a little while, who knows? But yeah, I was gonna say it's still a lot of cool bookish
Thanks,
people.
KR.
Disrespectful, Norm. Yeah, I was gonna say for your newsletter. No, it is true. I was gonna say some people it takes forever to build a newsletter. So the fact that you have people there,
maybe they like that I don't ever bug them or send them emails.
That's a problem.
But if I ever,
you're gonna post something and people are gonna be like, "Wait, this is spam. Why is this person putting me on?" And they'll have forgotten. But like that's the downside.
If I hear about a nuclear fallout first before anybody else, I'll put it out on the newsletter so all 600 people will know before. So.
That would be wild. Hopefully that does not happen, though. Let me ask you and everybody else that's chit-chatting now, is there any topic you wanted to cover that we haven't covered, or any questions that you wanted to ask that we haven't asked so far? Because this is that wonderful time since we have a few more minutes to...
Putting it on me? I don't have any. I feel like we talked about a lot of things. I don't have anything off the top of my head. Any questions? I'm sorry.
How about for me? Here's a question
Anybody
for
else?
you. Since you're working on, you said you're 3/4 the way on your current project, that will be the third part of your book series. Do you have any kind of goals of when you would want to release that book? I know you said you were a little earlier on, you're a pantser, so I don't know like how far in advance you're like, oh, I know when I'm going to release this book. But do you have any idea of what your goal might want to be?
Yeah, so my old goal used to be to put out at least 2 books a year, and I've met that goal every year, except now I've just been spending way more time writing because of the Royal Road. So my goal now is 4 to 5 books a year.
Woo!
And I have Gray Mark out. Book 2 came out this year in January. I'm hoping book 3 I can get out in April. And then Tony the Tomb Lord, which is my lit RPG, I'm hoping it'll take me like a month or 2 to re-go through that one, and then I'll have that out. And then I have my 3rd Alias in Love romance book, which I've written probably 25% of, and I want to get that done. So I'm hoping April for that book.
That's amazing. And yes, Atlas, you heard that correctly, 4 to 5. Now, everybody has different strategies, and what Jay was saying a little earlier was he's focusing on Royal Road as the primary way to bring interest, and then using that to funnel in some of his other stuff, which is, for me, super fascinating. I was picking his brain because I am curious about that platform. But
it's going really good.
I have FOMO. I'm like, I need to be on all the places, and again, that is the wrong way to approach things, but that's what it's me.
That's what I found out. I'm just in too many places, and it's just hard to focus and market. So like I said, I haven't really been doing a lot of TikToks. I've just been locked in on trying to get my chapters out on Royal Road as fast as possible and make it as good as possible. And I've written 3 full stories on there, like different actual stories, and then I started a 4th one. And I think honestly, almost all of my books I'm just gonna start writing on there and kind of funnel from Amazon from there to my Patreon.
I was gonna say that is.
Oh, definitely.
That is
I'll tell you.
an approach that I think is really neat, and yeah. So if I make that jump later this summer, I will definitely be tapping you. I have my notes, my dude.
Yeah, hit me up.
To be like,
hit me up.
How do I set
I know you're
this up?
prepared.
What do I do? how do I do this? I don't know. I'm a noob. Help me. And Atlas is who's listening in. I was talking to him earlier this week about I'm terrible at technology, so it's always a challenge to try something new, and I'm like, whoo.
Takes me longer than most people to figure it out, but eventually I will.
I'll race you. When I say race you, we're going to see which one's the last one on something. Like, the two tortoises going at a steady gait. That is me. I love that. Yeah, technology is the devil. I hate it. Yes, that is true. On the other hand, we all need it for some way, shape, or form. That is the world we live in, especially as authors. Like, let's throw that there. But if you could, and I hate to ask this one because you already have too many things on your plate. If you could jump to a new genre, what would be the next one you would jump to? I'm so sorry.
I want to try horror. I haven't done horror. I think horror would be fun. I had a dream that was more of a nightmare a few months ago, and I woke up and told my wife about it, and she's like, that sounds terrible. And I'm like, I know, I think it's gonna be a great book. And so I have that in the back of my mind. I think horror might be my next genre skip.
I love that. And I see Tina saying romantic thriller. I love that too. I don't know if I could ever jump out of fantasy. Like everything I would write are like subgenres.
It would be a horror fantasy. Yeah,
I would subgenres of all that kind of stuff. But like for me,
I love fantasy. Yeah, I love fantasy. That's why I can't do murder. That's why I said murder mystery and that. I can't. I love fantasy.
I definitely like have two different stories I'm trying to like jockey between, decide what would be my next new project. One being a magic tech political intrigue based series, and another one would be more on not necessarily a cozy fantasy, but more of a comedic fantasy that lifts to the warmer side of things. I don't know if it would truly be a cozy fantasy, but like definitely some kind of like adult comedic one, which is hard because I don't think I can write comedy, but I have this idea.
You have to. I mean, that's what this Summoned Again book was. I wouldn't say it's like I said, cozy. It's more just like a comedic fantasy, and I'm excited to work on. These are my novella. This is my novella, my attempt at a novella series. So yeah.
I love it. And I see Alice saying horror, thriller, fantasy. That would be interesting.
There, yeah. As long as we got fantasy in there, I'll make it work.
Yes. I sprinkle a little bit of some kind of magical element, something otherworldly. Love all that kind of stuff. What is your favorite magical, and this will be probably the last question since we're so close to the end, but like, what is your favorite magical element? Something that you've put into any of your stories. Is there anything that's just like, oh, this was really cool that I did that, and that was a lot of fun?
So probably, like I said, I like the gray mark with the answers, but that's not. It's more like somebody else doing it. So I would say probably in my Other Side series with the source, that's like the key, like the life energy that people have inside of themselves. And these hunters are able to kind of take it out of themselves and turn it into like some can use it as projectiles, some can make it into a shield, some can manipulate it into elements. And of course they can only use so much of it because it's their actual like life energy that keeps them alive and kind of runs their bodies, and stuff. So that's probably my favorite out of my books, like magic system.
That's cool. I love it. People are so creative. I love it. I was gonna say, yeah. Hopefully you pronounce this. Is it Lakin?
Lakin? Yeah.
I love that.
That's Tina's picture is Lakin in my Other Side series.
Now I have to like look really closely. That's cool. I love brownies and the fairy and the dessert, but
they're both winners.
They're both winners. They're both winners. But yeah, that is fantastic. See, I think these are just fun little things to like think about. It's like, who would be your favorite? What is your
It's the most fun. I'll talk and think about books and fantasy all day long. All day.
100%. But that's why we do. I mean, we kind of do it because we are the writers, and it's like when people are like, "Live in reality," I'm like, "No, which reality? No,
I've been
the
there.
answer is which reality because I write them all."
I've been to reality. I've lived in it for many, many years, and now I've tuned out. I've
Yeah,
tuned
no,
out.
I was about to say. Or you could answer, "I get paid to live in another reality, so let me do this."
I get paid to make stuff up. Yeah, love it.
It's fantastic. Living the best life. Anyhow, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight.
Of course.
It's been so much fun to catch up with you, and you are actually very inspiring and trying to get that little fire under me to like, one, work a little more efficiently, because
I'm more efficient than me.
I take notes. I have a note taker and I have a checklist. That is my brain. That doesn't mean I'm more efficient, but like the way, just learning the way everybody approaches writing and has figured out what works best for them, and just hearing what you've been up to, and it's just really neat. So
Awesome.
I'm excited. And like I said, I will probably be picking your brain about Royal Road later on in a few more months.
Definitely. I'm here. It was so nice talking with you.
Yes. And we should definitely do this again before
Not 2
more
years.
years go past.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was terrible. I'm terrible about that. Anywho, always feel free to reach out to me at any point, and I'd love to have you back on here. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you for everybody who's been chiming in, listening, hanging out. And until next time, everyone, happy reading. Bye.
Happy reading. Thanks, Dick. Thanks, Tina.